in the AFL had their first game of the round 2 of the 2020 season just this morning.
Woo!
The Collingwood Magpies and the Richmond Tigers took each other on at 5:40 a.m. local time on Fox Sports 1. It was a shortened game, shortened quarters, but still same intensity. It ended in a 36 tie. I got yelled at for calling it a tie. It is actually called a draw. Have some respect for the sport, McAfee, is what I was told. But they ended up in a 36-36 draw. And all of Australia this morning was talking about how bad of a game it was. Australia kept tweeting me saying, sorry, this is such a bad game. Lowest scoring game or something like that since 1999 or something of that nature. The over-under was supposed to be at 120-some points. It only ended up, obviously, at 72. So there was a lot of underwhelming parts, I assume, in the Aussie football rules fans' eyes. But for me, I don't know much about it. I thought it was intense. I thought it was insane. I thought it was absolute mayhem. I had no idea that was a trash, crappy game until every once in a while the commentator would say, that's the worst kick he's had in his life. And then a tweet would come to me, sorry, you got to watch this terrible game. It's like, whoa. I don't think it's a terrible game because I haven't been jaded long enough to know what great games look like, I don't think. I don't think I know enough about the game to understand, like, it's supposed to be super high scoring and things of that nature. Now, I assume a lot of people in Australia understand, just like us, that coming out of a 3-month quarantine, it might be a little bit rusty.
Sure.
Might be a little rusty, like old Dusty was for the Richmond Tigers, a little rusty-dusty this morning. But if you don't know any better, like we don't, and most of America doesn't, those last 5 minutes were insane. Now, granted, did I watch the first 2 quarters? I gave it a go. I set the alarm 5:20 a.m., which, by the way, is an hour and 15 minutes earlier than I normally get out of my bed. Does that make sense? So I'll set my alarm 6:15, snooze, then I'm out of my bed. So a 5:20 alarm clock set was an aggressive decision, but I said, you know what? Been talking about the AFL, pumped for the AFL to come back. I'm going to get up and watch this thing, tweet alongside of it. It's the least I could do, or I'm a complete hypocrite. So then 5:20 came, it literally made the sound. I looked at it, didn't even hit snooze, went into the clock, edit, change the time, move it back up to 6:15, back to bed. We're up, we're at 'em. I catch the final 2 quarters. I guess I missed our Collingwood Magpies team being up like 24 points or something of that nature. But that second half, they were saying it was rusty. They were saying it was bad Aussie rules football. For me, I enjoyed the hell out of it. There was big hits. There were some missed kicks. I saw no torpedo kicks, which is like NFL style punt of a spiral. It was all end over end. I thought there was a couple times, a couple of the mates could have opened up with a little bit of a torpedo style punt and maybe hit from long range. There's a couple missed kicks, by the way. In America, that person's not allowed basically to get back on the bus and go home. There's a couple missed kicks late. I mean, it was an awesome game in my eyes. And it reminded me with the reaction that was coming on Twitter for a situation I had at training camp. And I forget which coach told me, but training camp, it was open to fans. And fans don't always know the ins and outs of punting and things of that nature. So I would punt. First period of practice was punt normally, so I got a chance to set the tone for the crowd. And it was home run derby normally. I'm just trying to hit big balls so you can get a, ooh, like that type of thing, because there's no returner really. There's no real pressure. I'm not going to get hit. So you could drop that thing a little bit lower and hit it like 70, 80 yards if you want to. Just like make it a show for the fans. And this one night, I was hitting the ball. It was going good, but I wasn't hitting it perfect. Like I wasn't hitting it clean. So whenever I mess up, I drop a very, very, very loud MF'er. Just always have, always will. It's gotten me in some trouble. There's this one time, there was a Huntington Bank kids about 4 feet behind me that were kind of like underprivileged youth in Indianapolis that got to come out to camp, and they were 4 feet behind me. I was on the back of the end zone. I miss a ball, drop a very, very, very loud F-bomb. Chuck comes over. He's like, will you just turn around and look less than 2 yards behind you? And I turn and I look. I see the kids. I go, look, if they want to watch Daddy work, they're going to listen to Daddy talk. And Chuck was like, you are in shame. Chuck moves the practice up 20 yards so that hopefully if I yell, the kids don't hear, right? So, but that was the thing. Like if I didn't do well, I didn't have the composure to just be like, oh, you'll get it next time. Like I was very angry. If I was trying to do well and I didn't do well and I didn't do perfect, I would yell the F-bomb. Just Every sport I've ever played, if I am focusing on something and it doesn't turn out perfectly, like that is a tough thing. In college, whenever I would miss a kick, my freshman year, I would miss a kick and I would do the exact same thing, and it would be a very loud mother. And on TV, they zoom right into your face. So my mom was like, hey, listen. Just want to let you know that whenever something doesn't go right, will you please put your head down whenever you start swearing, because they had a zoom in on your face screaming mother or and we would just like that not to happen. So if you ever see me when I mess up, usually my head's going straight down and people think like I'm sad or whatever. No. I am boiling just looking down. There are swear words going out there. And in practice this one time, I was hitting big balls, like maybe it was going like 50 yards, but it wasn't like nice because I had a jet stream behind me. So I dropped a loud MFer. And I forget which coach it was that came loud. I mean, it echoed off of the little kids' heads that were in the bleachers that were there for practice. I mean, it was loud. And the coach came over to me and was like, if you didn't scream so loud that you were angry, nobody in here would know that was a bad punt. Like if you didn't let everybody know that what just happened there wasn't good, nobody has a clue, Pat. Why don't you just let these people think that you just had the best set of your life and then get mad afterwards? It's like, well, I can't do that. That's what happened this morning with Aussie Rules football. All the Aussie Rules football fans from Australia are like, this stinks, this stinks, this stinks. For me, I don't know. I'm that kid in the crowd that just heard somebody swear. I thought it was a great game. I was like, okay, we got a battle here at the end. Sometimes there's going to be a ground and pound game where defense wins out because that's football for us. I had no idea it was a bad game, but apparently when it ends as a draw or a tie, that's when my tide started turning a little bit. I'm like, come on. Like there has to be some sort of way for these guys who just gave their lives for this entire time. That was a shortened game coming off the thing. There should be a chance for them to win this thing outright. And you have those posts and everybody kicks. Just do penalty kicks. Just have them line up at 50 meters. Now, granted, I'm not trying to change a league that's been around for 124 years. Okay, I'm a very new fan. I'm not doing that. But when that game ended in a tie, I was like, what do we? It's literally set up for people to go in there and just have 5 people do it. And maybe don't give it as many points as a win because it's like hockey. It's an overtime win or whatever. Maybe don't give them. But I feel like walking away from that this morning, my only grudge about it was nobody did anything. Nobody ended up winning. So the Collingwood Magpies, our team, still undefeated, I guess.
Yeah.
Still undefeated. So that's something to talk about. But I enjoyed it a lot this morning.